We're going to take a break from our normally scheduled creative mixology sessions to explore an underrated and underutilized spirit from Peru, Aguardiente de Pisco. Pisco is a muscat brandy with origins going back to the late 16th century, currently produced in both Peru and Chile. I mean, it's kind of similar to cognac, only without the boisé, additives like oak-flavored tea and burnt caramel syrup. And while I would use it more like a grappa, it's not made with the pomace, the sticks, leaves, and peels left over from wine production. I prefer Peruvian Pisco. I believe they have a better control over their distillation process, while Chile puts more emphasis on the end product. Pisco can only be made out of 8 specific grape varietals, 4 of which are considered aromatic, providing floral and citrus notes. The wine is distilled immediately after fermentation, once through a copper pot still where only the hearts are collected, and it's rested for at least 3 months in a non-reactive container and bottled at strength. It can't be proofed down. Quebranta and Italia are the most common puros used in achilados, the blends. The Pisco Sour is probably the main reason everyone has a bottle of this languishing on their shelf, and it's a fabulous drink. Basically a brandy daiquiri flip, and here's how I like to make it. I like how the silkiness of the powdered sugar adds to the froth from the egg white. Dry shake first, then add ice and shake again. A Nick and Nora glass is required for the presentation. We're also using a Quebranta Pisco, as is standard for this recipe. That's nice, an absolute classic, and those key limes really stand out. So what else can we do? In the Pisco Sour, I used a Quebranta Pisco, which is a puro, or pure Pisco, meaning it is made from a single grape varietal. In this case, the Quebranta, the only varietal native to Peru and the most common one used. That's interesting. There's a strong note of fruit, maybe with a little bit of pecan behind it. Finishes with this nice, buttery creaminess, but it's a very delicate flavor. I have my own version of a Pisco Sour, and I want to try this with the Quebranta and the Torrentel just to see if there's any significant difference between the two. And we need to make a lime essential syrup. The other two here are aromatic, which is also puro, but these have fruity and floral notes not always present in the regulars. This one is a Torrentel, and this is an Italia, both of which are considered very floral. There's a strong difference between these and the Quebranta, which isn't very floral at all. And even between these two there's a strong difference, but like the difference between rose and orange flower. Except the Torrentel kind of reminds me of lavender, and the Italia tastes like fruit roll-ups. Wow, I was worried that it would take a native Peruvian to tell the difference between the different Piscos in a cocktail like this. But these are both amazing. This one has this dark edge where it's almost like a burnt, charred fruit is in there. This one definitely has those floral notes popping right out amongst the lime and the lemon and everything. These are great cocktails. Italia is used most often for the Chilcano, a Peruvian mule. And even though the recipe calls for Angostura bitters, I'm assuming y'all used Amargo Chincho instead, right? Better than the vodka version, not as good as a rum mule. Chirulín, Peru's first cocktail, a centuries-old tradition handed down through generations of Afro-Peruvians around Nazca. This is a simple libation made with grapefruit and cinnamon. Modern versions use pink grapefruit juice, and I'm sticking to tradition with pomelo and key limes. I'm also using an Anchelado Pisco, a blend. Most Pisco are puro, made from a single grape variety, and I believe the blend will work better here. Wow, grapefruit and cinnamon go so well together, and this is no exception. The lime kicks the tartness up a bit, and the Pisco actually provides a sweet edge to the drink, an historic and delicious classic. Key limes are also a problem when juicing, because they tend to be drier than regular limes. You need to cut and squeeze a ton of them, though their bitterness adds some depth over regular limes. I'm barely even halfway done and I'm already tired of this, but one of the best tools you can use for key limes is a garlic press. It holds them better and does a better job squeezing out all the juice. The Chiraline is delicious, but simple, and the sheer amount of juice hides the flavor of the Pisco a bit. So let's reimagine this cocktail as something more booze forward, like a martini. A Chiraline, if you will. You know what this smells like? Pie. But I've never had a grapefruit pie before. But pies are delicious, and cocktails are delicious. So there's gotta be some overlap in that flavor, right? How fancy is that? This is how cocktail bars get you to pay $20 for a drink filled with cheap ingredients like grapefruit and Pisco. Wow. The lemon adds some balance to the spices, and the rosemary brings some needed rustic charm. This is a great cocktail. Achelado is a blend of either Pearl or Mosto Verde. And even when blended, the component brandies must be unaged, distilled once in a copper pot, and can't be proofed down. Interestingly enough, each brand can legally only produce one of each, and most are primarily quebranta with just a bit of the others for a little extra oomph. These are both very nice, and the Capurro has a lot of that dark fruit flavor that you expect from the Quebranta, while the El Diablada has a lot of those floral notes from the other varietals. Let's make one more cocktail with the other Achelado, the Diablada. This is an interesting one. The parent company, Machu Pisco, so clever, is run by two sisters, which is very cool, and I'm dying to get my hands on their Mosto Verde, the Nusta, which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing correctly. I've never come across a word that starts with this N. It's a simple recipe. Achelado Pisco, simple syrup, grapefruit juice, and grapefruit soda. Have you ever smelled grapefruit soda? If you ever thought to yourself, what does pink smell like? This is it. It smells pink. So let's rename this the Pisco Pink. And Melanie and Lizzie, if you're watching, I just emailed you. So let me know how to get a bottle of your Mosto Verde. Maybe it'll make it into this video. This is so nice, such a refreshing drink, and that Pisco stands out. This particular Achelado incorporates 4 different varietals, 3 aromatic, so it's quite unique. Pisco Pink. That sounds like a cool cowboy name. Citric punch is a Peruvian favorite, usually served as a long drink in a Collins glass. I'm going to reimagine this one as more of a sour, and there's two things we need to do first. Instead of standard pineapple syrup, let's take 1 cup of chopped pineapple, 3/4 cups sugar, and a cup of Stiggins Fancy and bring it to a boil. Lower the heat and simmer for about 15 minutes and then strain, making sure to press on the pineapple to extract as much of the juice as possible. Let this cool before using.
Is that fire that you feel for me? 'Cause you're worth so much, the feeling. Paint a picture for me. 'Cause all I see are shades of gray. Show me what your eyes are seeing. Electric blue. Who am I to you? And are we built to last?
We also need some dried pineapple. So I took some pineapple strips from a very sweet pineapple, dried them in the oven about halfway, then rehydrated them with Italia Pisco, then fully dehydrated them and grated some as a garnish.
The time and the place. You can count on me to be there. I travel far and wide. Tell me you're here for good this time. Fast and strong, just like you. I know it's always been you.
Here's our new specs, and I'm using foamer instead of egg white. So dry shake first, then add ice and shake again. The original is very pineapple, quite refreshing, a decent thirst quencher for a hot night. My version is quite different. The pineapple is more subdued, and the rum base adds a dark element that blends well with the herbaceousness of the chartreuse, and the pisco adds a nice floral touch. I'm using a Moscatel pisco, and this one didn't make it into the taste test because I just got it today, but it is quite nice. The best part though is this dried pineapple I put on top. The floral notes from the aromatic pisco are amazing, and I've also got this bottle of pineapple-infused pisco. It's absolutely delicious, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. Let's do just a few more to really dive into the differences that you may find between the various Puro Piscos, starting with the standard, the Negroni. Well, the Cheloni, when made with pisco. I've made one with Quebranta and one with the Torrentel, an aromatic pisco. Even though this is supposed to be an equal parts cocktail, the Quebranta version may benefit from an increase in the pisco just to separate out that more delicate fruit flavor. It blends in a little too well, while the Torrentel has strong floral notes that really enhance the experience. Maybe pisco is a gin substitute. So I had a conversation with a lovely young lady from Cocktail Underground, formerly One Drink 3 Bars, and was asked which pisco brands I recommend. And here's the thing, the regulations and processes are so controlled, I don't think brand carries as much weight as grape varietal. Do you want stone fruit or tropical fruit, floral or citrusy? or a blend that mixes 2 or more of these flavor profiles. Perfect for a cold winter night, perfect level of spice. The floral notes from the Pisco blend well with the Jamaica or the hibiscus, and you can definitely tell it's spiked. I was going to make a comparative graph of where I believe Pisco lies between brandy and grappa, but because the flavor is lighter with no oak or other boisé, I don't believe they are truly comparable. When thinking about creating Pisco cocktails, I would imagine this is more in line with vodka, shochu, sake, aquavit, and gin. Rather than making these big, juicy, cinnamon spice drinks, this should be used in martini variations, sours, shrubs, where other delicate ingredients can be enhanced. Does your cocktail use elderflower and vodka? Use an aromatic instead. Shochu or sake? Try using a Mosto Verde to add depth and mouthfeel. Gin is too bold? Put in a quebranta or an achelado. So thanks for making it this far. This is a long one. Subscribe if you're not already. I know this is a lot of information on a booze that you may not have that much access to. Even I could only find one Mosto Verde. I did finally hear back from the ladies at Macho Pisco, and while I heard a lot about their process, they never did tell me where to get their Mosto Verde. Beautiful bottle, but I think Australia got them all. So let's recap. We've gone through Puro or Pure Pisco, which are single grape varietals, either aromatic or non-aromatic, meaning they have a fruit-forward flavor like a brandy or a very citrusy or floral. Naturally fermented and distilled only once, no additives are allowed, which includes water and barrel aging. Rested a minimum of 3 months in a non-reactive container like glass or stainless steel. Achelados are blends of these, usually featuring the quebranta grape, the most popular varietal. Mosto Verde is the third type of Pisco, distilled from partially fermented must, a green must if you will. In normal Pisco production, the yeast turns all the sugar into alcohol, and in a Mosto Verde, they stop the process early. The extra sugars provide notes of honey and toast with more floral notes, and it gives it a very silky body. The most popular Mosto Verde cocktail is the Pisco Inferno. Oh, I get it, but it isn't hot or spicy. It's clever, but not on point. It's not bad, but there's too much in there to truly appreciate the nuanced flavors of this Pisco. So let's check this out by itself and then in a cicciatini. So this is even more delicate than the aromatic Puro Piscos. The floral notes are delicious. There's a sense of brandy and it's definitely sweet, almost creamy. This is an amazing booze, but it would be hard to put this in a cocktail worthy of the subtlety. So let's try a riff on a Peruvian classic, Chicha Morada. Purple corn, drink, punch, I don't know. All I know is we are making a bitter martini, the cicciatini. This is what Pisco is made for. It's almost as if we've been building to this moment, showing all the decent Pisco cocktails, and here we are with the penultimate Pisco cocktail, a blend of Peruvian flavors and modern mixology. This is near perfect. Did I say penultimate? Does that mean we have one more? Something better? Okay, last cocktail. I took the peels of 4 lemons, a cup of sugar, and a tablespoon of lavender, vacuum sealed it, and let it sit for 24 hours. I was actually a little disappointed with the amount of oil I got, and maybe these were old lemons, but I turned this into a 2-to-1 essential syrup. This is the Pisco Lavanda, a Pisco Sour using Mosto Verde Pisco and the Lavender Lemon Essential Syrup. Lavanda. That sounds like a girl you'd hit on in a Peruvian bar, and even though she's not the prettiest girl in there, she still turns you down. This is delicious, but every time I say lavender, I'm always afraid that I mean violet. So let's try the same cocktail with just a dash of creme de violette. Yes, this is what I wanted. So far, this is the best Pisco drink out there. It exemplifies the unique creamy floral notes from the Pisco, the oily citrus is outstanding, and the violet just blends perfectly. And trust me, Lavanda's sister Violetta is not talking to you either. See you next time.